Code Monkeys. I don't know how many of you will recognize this guy. He hasn't been on this channel for quite some time.
You might recognize me from such classics as the first episode of Entropy the Compassionate Supervillain and Bored of These Things, The Fellowship of This Thing.
And I think that's pretty much it. Have you been in anything else on the channel?
I don't think so.
Yeah, no. This is the eponymous lock of Coded Lock Films. It's based on our last names. They know my last name, Jesse Coder. I don't know if you're comfortable putting your last name on YouTube. I'm not going to make you, but...
No, I'm Pete Lockwood.
All right, well, yeah, it's Coder Lockwood, Coded Lock Films. That's where the name comes from, if any of you were curious. We're currently in the car on our way to see our buddy Connor one more time, with all the three of us just kind of hanging out together before he moves back down to Ohio. I just thought that we would take a little bit of time and talk about one of the better shows that we've seen in a while. And I don't know how you feel about the world of children's entertainment nowadays, Pete, but I think
I always dress up as a party clown and go to little kids' schools.
That's his sense of humor, by the way. And anyway, I don't know about you, but I think that in terms of children's television shows, they've kind of been bad.
Shit.
Yeah, they've been shit for a while. But there is a diamond, if we can say that has appeared recently, and it is called My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Do you want to explain to the good people what bronies and Pegasisters are, Pete?
Okay, well, first I'd like to explain how the show came to be, because I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're better versed on the history of it than I am.
When I was in kindergarten, about 95, 96, some mid-90s year, I was friends with one of the girls in the class. So I got a rudimentary education of the original My Little Pony show. And it was shit. It was basically a vehicle to sell toys. Lauren Faust, who did a lot of work for Cartoon Network, actually, when it was good.
What were some of the shows she was on? Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, wasn't she?
Yeah, she did Powerpuff Girls.
Powerpuff Girls, that too, yeah. She's done some good stuff. She's got a decent pedigree behind her.
She grew up in the 80s. She'd seen the original 3 seasons of My Little Pony. Mm-hmm. And she thought it sucked too. She created this to right a wrong, and I think that's kind of cool. Yeah,
basically just, what if, we were to do this right? Where, like, why do shows that are made for little girls have to be these, like, vapid, just stupid little things, And so she basically just said, let's do this right, how do we do this right? And she was one of the main creative driving forces behind My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and it's a genuinely good show, and I don't even enjoy it in that sort of ironic way that a lot of people come to enjoy things. Like, you can enjoy a show ironically, or like it because it's really bad and therefore entertaining to watch. It's actually a genuinely good show. And going back to that whole thing that I said earlier about bronies and Pegasisters, there's this online community that has sort of risen up around the show of generally, college age or just post-college age fans of the show, who are called bronies and Pegasisters. And what I think is really cool about this online community is how much the creators of the show have embraced that aspect of it. Do you want to talk about Derpy Hooves? That's a really good. Yeah, talk about Derpy Hooves.
Okay, so...
Well, actually, hold on. We should hold off on Derpy Hooves for now. We should talk about sort of the premise of the show. They had to create some new characters for it, but I know that some of them are classic characters.
At least
the names, like Rainbow Dash. But they make some really interesting changes to these characters, and just like really minor things can make a world of difference. Like when they came up with the character of Rainbow Dash, they said, okay, you know what? Instead of focusing on the rainbow part of her name, let's focus on the dash part of her name. And that could be cool, and so that could be something active. And so she's this tomboy. She's like really competitive, and she's got her claim to fame is her her incredible speed at which she can fly. Like she's the fastest pony in Equestria in flight, right? I believe they established that. That's really cool, and they all have really pretty well developed characters. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of another good one, like And when I'm talking about little differences, like there's, I think that's really indicative in the character of Rarity, who could have very easily been just the character that was obsessed with clothes. But instead of just being, just loving clothes, which is kind of a passive thing, she's a fashion designer in the show, which turns a love of clothing, instead of being something just passive, into something active. And I think that's what makes this show so good, is that these are active characters. And first of all, they're characters, for one thing. They're not just all essentially the same pony with cosmetic differences. Who's your favorite pony? Do you have one? Do you have a favorite?
Fluttershy, by far.
Fluttershy, yeah. Fluttershy, she's probably a close second for me. I like Twilight Sparkle. I really do. I like her. I think the reason that she gets kind of left out of the whole who's your favorite pony discussion a lot is because she's sort of the vehicle for the show. In a lot of ways. She's an apprentice to Celestia. Princess Celestia, she tasks Twilight Sparkle, instead of going back to the Magic Academy, to stay in Ponyville with all these new friends that she makes over the first 2 episodes, and tasks her to study the magic of friendship and report back to her about what she learns. And so that's the sort of the vehicle for the show, is that Twilight Sparkle is learning about friendship, and at the end of every episode she sends a letter to Princess Celestia that she narrates to the audience that sort of sums up what the message of that particular episode was about. She is sort of the vehicle for the show, but I find her genuinely entertaining. She's her character, she's very much a bookworm. She's very studious. She has a lot of technical knowledge, but not a whole lot of street smarts, if you could say that.
Yeah.
What makes this show good is that these people, these ponies, they actually have characters, and they actually have character development, and they genuinely learn things, and it's an active show. They're actively doing things, as opposed to just stuff happening to them and then defeating their enemies by crying and sharing. It's just, I want to get back to the online community thing, and how there's sort of this sort of open channel between the creators of the show and the viewers of the show. And now I think we can talk about Derpy Hooves, which I think is the perfect example of this.
In the first episode, if you look in the background during the party scene, you can see that there is a gray pony with blonde hair that has 7 bubbles as a cutie mark, and you can see that her eyes go in 2 different directions. So this was just an animator fucking around at first. Somebody on 4chan recognized this, and I believe they posted, and so the legend of Derpy Hooves is born. And she became her own character online. They gave her a backstory and everything.
People give these, invent characters for background ponies, and the creators of the show are aware of it and keep these background ponies as kind of like running gags. Another one is Dr. Hooves, who is this pony who had kind of a sort of wild brown mane, very similar to David Tennant's hairstyle in Doctor Who, and he happened to have, as his random cutie mark, it was an hourglass. And so people refer to this guy as Dr. Hooves. And it's just this really great open dialogue that exists between creators and fans that I think you don't see a whole lot in shows, and I think it's a fantastic thing, and it's a genuinely good show. I would encourage anybody who's watching this, to sort of give it a chance and stick it out, and give this show a real chance, because it's genuinely good, and I like it. He likes it. There are a lot of people our age who like it, and that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Do you have anything else to add?
Here's to them not dropping the ball on the second season.
Yeah, hopefully. The second season starts on the 17th of September. It's on the Hub. Is that the network?
I believe so.
But that's pretty much all I have to say about it. So, until next time, Code Monkeys, this is Pete Lockwood and Jesse Coder. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing Pete on here. First time in a long time, like I said. But yeah, My Little Pony is good. Go watch it. Bro hoof. See you later.